Hey Randy, it's Brian. Sorry it's taking me so long to get back to you, but life's been crazy. I between my dyslexia and uh, uh, my learning disabilities and stuff, I find communicating like always extremely difficult, and especially with trying to talk to you over the phone and stuff. It's always so hard with you breaking up uh, and I hate writing things. So I'm sorry. I thought let's try this way. I'm gonna send you a video, and then I can give you all my thoughts and see if this works a little bit better uh, for us. Because I did want to get back to you. I went through all the things you sent me. Nice work, by the way. This is amazing. Um, and I have to say, it did bring up some interesting things for me. And got me thinking about a lot of this stuff. Now, I wrote some notes down and on kind of what my thoughts were and where I was going with it. Um, I thought the analysis was very good. Um, it, I've been wrestling with a lot of what this is and what I want it to be and what level. And what I mean by that is always in my vision over the years has been to build a time machine and go back and just be there in that space and enjoy that moment and that experience. That being said, there's another part of me that if that was on one end of the spectrum, that just the hardcore exactness of it, there's that other spectrum of let's call it the Disney end of it, and where every little detail's kind of taken care of and looked at and all the stuff. And there are components to the Disney end that really work with my imagination. And in a lot of ways, I see that coming through in your paperwork too, with the various stylings that you talk about when it comes to the, especially like through the food and stuff. And I've been wrestling with it, and one of the things I think has kind of brought me back to narrow my focus is recently I've seen some documentaries. Disney's actually doing celebrating their 100th anniversary, and one of the documentaries or things they were showing off was Disney's getting very good at these kind of immersive experience restaurants. They used to be very kind of low tech and kind of kitschy, and then they got to the point where they started to get very high tech at a Disney level, but still was like kind of shitty food. But now they're really trying to cover all their corners. They've got these you can dine on the Galactic Star Cruiser, you can have a show with Frozen, and while they are amazing, they're so heavily Disney-esque, they miss on a component of higher level of dining and style for me. And so I really wanted to root back to that. Another thing that really shaped me or helped me focus recently is a interview I heard on NPR about a gentleman that just wrote a book about being a maitre d' for 40 years in New York City. And he said something out loud that I guess I've always known, but routes back to me. He was asked what was more important, service or food, and he said 100% service. And I agree. Because if while the food is important and it's a piece of art and a show in itself, really doesn't matter what the food is if you get it and it's just flopped in front of you and the surface is shitty, the food will be shitty because the service was shitty. And if the food is bad and it's undercooked or something, but the service is super attentive to jump on it and say, absolutely, sir, and take it back and take care of it and make you feel like you have special attention, then that's really what's going to bring it home. And I realize that there's kind of a triangle here of food, service, and setting. And if one is bad, you have the other two can compensate. But we really, I feel like service is at the top of the pyramid, and on either side is the food. I really want food that is going to be delicious, uh, well done, well prepared, and I think I would take excellence in preparation and execution over exclusivity or rareness or uh, trying to meet the latest craze. Uh, uh, so, and I think, well, before we diverge too far down into that, because I'll go through these each one. The other thing that, so I've been thinking more about is kind of sticking to my dream, developing a deep backstory for the ship, the name of the ship, the history, and it's going to be a moment of now, but I want that to be routed in this experience. And as I look at trying to accomplish this, I feel like I'm starting at ground zero, which I am. I don't have the resources currently in terms of money or investors, which can change. I have some prospects, but I think this needs to be broken down into stages as the projects go. And I'm kind of feeling that the first stage of this project would be to do a test dinner, and to build a test set, do a dinner for like 12 people, possibly investors. And I think I could pull that off relatively speaking, and kind of work out some major kinks, but also to have something that I can start using as a visualization or a selling pitch to people, that they could directly see. I think that the second stage of this would be to build off the first stage and try to do a hyper localized run or a partnership with someone where we heavily focus to the community and the market, and it's on a lesser scale, but runs for like a week, maybe paired with some other special event. And again, this would go to prove that we could start to scale this up and draw more interest to it. And then the third stage would be to try to really lock in the investments and go for a much larger audience and experience for this like pop-up restaurant. So that's kind of where I feel about it right now. Right now, I'm just, a crazy guy talking to people, and I've got enough crazy, I've got enough resources I could get to stage one, but being able to show people some actual physicality to it, I think would really help to push the next couple of stages. So going to start off at your technical aspects, I was looking at those different links that you sent me, and it's extraordinary what they're doing. That's definitely looking into more, especially for like stage 3 components to that. I want to show you something too. I'll send you a link. I often put my kids to bed to it. It's called LAX Live. And it's these guys that have routed the air traffic control radio into basically Microsoft program with some other minor programs. And it took me a while to realize I was looking at a computer simulation, but it matches the weather and everything, and the look is amazing. And so I'm actually going to try to do a test run with a Microsoft simulator and see if I can lay out the flight path I want, get the view I want, and then I have a projector, and I'm going to see if I can do a projection on a screen. This is going to be one of my preliminary tests. I think when we do scale up, we'll do real aerial photography, but this would definitely allow me to get to stage one, possibly stage two, um, and do it very affordably and possibly get an effect to show off people. Um, it's something to look at. The one of the other technical things that I'm being anal about, aspect, but I'm really been trying to think about is how to enter in the experience. Now, I like eventually the idea of the lounge. I definitely think that's a good one, but I I need some transitional point to figure out a way to have people engage into to board this airship. That's a really big component in my mind. Um, you need to feel like you're boarding an airship, not just walking into a room. And that presents a multitude of problems. I mean, you watch the movie Hindenburg. They they have gangways that drop down stairs and they step up into it. And what's amazing about that is that they're stepping up into a silver cloud essentially. There's no supports to this building, this thing that they're stepping into. Um, and so it's undeniably an airship and you're outside. And it's hard to find a space that would allow you to do that. You definitely would see some supports, obviously. There might be ways to get around some of that with like using some magician techniques with mirrors and stuff. So you'd still be boarding underneath, but you get a sense that you'd be boarding on something that was floating. Another thing could be considered is they used to board. There was a allowed you to board from a tower or a. I think the British airships did this into the nose of the craft, which could offer some technically might be a little bit easier because it was a narrow bridge. You're walking into the face of something, and you can put screens on either side and project the outside. It's something to think about. But that is definitely a technical aspect that is going to go that I'm looking into as well. Food. So I want to be careful on like developing menus and foods based on puns. I realize the fantasticness of the experience, but I don't want to. I want it to be closer to history or closer to, the reality of the travel than fantasy. And so if that were the case, wherever our destination is or we're going, and in this case, we're going to start off on Los Angeles, the menu would be a regional aspect or would highlight where we're going. And so I would develop something around that, I think, and have a little fun with it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like if you're on a flight to India, they're not serving sushi. If you serve food that's indicative of the travel of where you're going. I love electromagnetic levitation plates for dinner. I don't want them for something like this. I spot that out specifically because this kind of goes to being more of the Disney kind of kitschy kind of idea in my mind. And I want, fine china experience. That being said, I do like the play of maybe one element that's fanciful and fun. I do like the balloons. I do like the idea of making a Zeppelin balloon as a grand dessert. They would they would showcase something like that. I think it'd be cool to see if we could make a 3-foot candy balloon that came floating out or something. I'm not sure how it works in terms of the entire evening, but it would be like one dessert for everybody, or it would highlight one dessert, or it would be over the one dessert. But the idea is, that is one showpiece I'd be very interested in developing. In terms of service, I definitely like the flexibility of exclusivity. I like the idea of the captain's quarters and being able to scale up options for people. These are, you have a lot of great ideas in here. I do like the idea of a welcome drink or ambush on board. I do like, well, I guess the captain's quarters is like the chef's table idea. I really do like that kind of stuff. I think that would be great. I want to be, in terms of, I think we've talked about this before. I want old style service. There is, a thing that's happened, I think, that now where you go to a restaurant and the waiter becomes part of can be on a higher level, some of the theatrics and the way they do something, and or on this special dish. And while that's great, I almost want it to be so like making a Caesar salad in front of people. If they're watching and enjoying that experience, that's fantastic. But just as equally, I don't want it to be, I want it to be just so well executed and not in a theatrical manner, but just as a point of service, that they could even continue in a conversation about something else with somebody. And so I'm not sure if that is clearly defined, but I'll try to find some examples to that. But it's a lot of it gets on how the staff presents themselves and how they engage with people. And a lot of that's going to derive down from my leadership and how I train the staff and work with them. People are very friendly, which is good, but they're often too familiar now. And they always warn about that in Butler School. So I want a staff that is as easy to be as loved and is easy to be dismissed, because we are both there and not there at the same time. I'm just rambling, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to. Marketing. The travel agency idea, I think, is, and our frequent flyer program, I think is an interesting idea. And I definitely see where it could come with repeat people and so forth. I don't know if I'm sold on that entirely, on how that would come. It'd definitely be like a third stage. In the third stage, that would work out when we expand the project. And so I would like to go about that more, or talking about that, or thinking about it some more. There are things like the bar and the gift shop. These are all like third stages of the project. Or pairing up with a winery, or like the coffee. These are all things that, for me, visualizing getting that done. I'm not sure there's enough meat on the bone to do it. I really like the ideas, and I think the second stage would be a test bed for some of those things, um, on a smaller level. And what I mean by that is if we did, a week event or something, we could have some merchandising paired with that as you left the experience. Um, you know, in a small aspect of it, as maybe like on a cart or some level, and see if that translates to anybody, if they care to pick up on any of that, or want to relate to that to the event, or want to personalize it or pick it up, or something. Um, so I think there's a lot to that needs to be evaluated, in terms of would it work, will it bring in. I went to the Van Gogh exhibit. I saw that in real life. Uh, and the bar slash snack thing that they had in at the beginning of it was a little bit pricey, but definitely was something that brought in money for them. And they had an excellent gift shop. It was all stuff that you could only get there. It was personalized, it was higher end, and people were madly buying it. Now, I don't have enough gift shop experience to know what if that was an anomaly or what was the factors that were making those things work. I'm sure they were making money off of it, because the merchandising was moving. It was set at a high price, but there's also Van Gogh attached to it, which is art. So you can put that on a lot of things. Developing merchandising worthwhile that people would want off a Zeppelin dinner would be an interesting task. It would be worthy of seeing if we could actually talk to somebody in that might be able to help us do that. I think so. I mean, those are my thoughts. Yeah, I mean, this is all amazing, and I definitely am kind of noodling on things more and more. And I'm going to start to see if I can expand some of this more. But I wanted to get back to you, and hopefully this helps you a little bit in what I was thinking, and on the feedback that you were giving me. I think that moving forward, well, I've already ordered Microsoft Flight Simulator. I just kind of want to start playing with. I got to keep my creativity level up in this, and see if that technical aspect could be used. If so, I think I can start making some jumps. I'm also going to talk to a local chef here. I have another project that I'm doing for somebody, and I'm going to kind of key this in and get some of his views of what he does, or what he thinks as a chef. So again, this is great. I want to set up some time where we can talk again, and kind of see where to go from here. But I want to thank you, and hope everything's going well over there. We've been super busy over here. We just got over a bout of COVID, and it just never seems to slow down. I mean, we've been going crazy. I'll give you a little, before I go, a quick tour here. This you're seeing in my shop extraordinaire here. There's my tiki window. Oh, wait, maybe I can flip this here. Let me see. No. My vintage TV, which I love watching in here. I got my woodworking projects. These are all going to be mini Titanic cake toppers that come with icebergs too. See, they got one of them glued up there and got the funnels going. And there's always kind of chaos around in here. Anyways, hope all is well. We'll talk soon, and catch you later.